Treyarch just buffed Shadow Rift, reverted the directed mode changes, and fixed the visual effects bug in Citadel de Mort. Today we're gonna test out Shadow Rift, see how good it is against amalgamations, and maybe find a secret buff to the Raven Sword? Let's get started. Now, the Shadow Rift buff is not the only thing that they changed with today's update. In fact, we got one of the best blog post patch notes that we've ever received here in Black Ops 6. And some other change. They started off with this. They say, let's talk about those changes from January 3rd. The team is always focused on making zombies fun and rewarding. It's why we make video games. Which is just oh, it's so wonderful. It's such a sassy, like, tongue-in-cheek. I personally, I think they're teasing the community a little bit. Not the entire community, but the people who, for some reason, think that they want to nerf fun. Like, that's just so ridiculous. I think that's definitely a little poke in that direction. They go on to explain why they took so long to nerf Shadow Rift, because a lot of people were genuinely worried, like, hey, why did it, Shadow Rift's worked this way since launch, why did it take you so long? They said some fixes for bugs or exploits can become lower priority as more important issues come up, and some need to be held for an update further down the line. And all of the updates that we had last week were an example of this. And then they later go on to say, like, we know it's discouraging to see like a fix to something that you didn't think was a problem before, so that's why they are buffing Shadow Rift. They are reverting, straight up reverting the directed mode nerf, which if you've seen my latest video, really wasn't that much of a nerf. And in a shocking twist that I never would have seen coming, I never would have guessed this, they are adding in a shortcut to the Terminus Easter egg to make the shock charge actually work and function normally like an intended game mechanic. That is awesome. The directed mode and the Shadow Rift buffs are in the game now. However, that shock charge change is going to take some time. They didn't give a specific date. They just said that they're going to work on it. And then, of course, they say that they thank us for reporting the visual effects on Citadel de Mort, obviously, as well as letting them know about the Void Cheese for Ether Shroud being broken. So that's kind of what we're going to test here today. We're going to test and hopefully see. We're actually going to hopefully get this gun Opal here. And my main goal is going to be testing out Shadow Rift. I do have enough salvage, but I want to wait here. I just want to get open Pack-a-Punch first. But we're going to be testing out the Shadow Rift buff because in the patch notes, they say that what they did was just increase decrease the delay, increase the activation rate, whatever way you want to look at it. It's going to activate way sooner and way more frequently. Additionally, I have the big game augment, the one that used to one-shot the elites on my Shadow Rift augment, as well as I further reduced the cooldown of the augment in both Elemental Pop as well as Shadow Rift itself. So hopefully we get to see some crazy activations with this augment with Shadow Rift here. I also just wanted to see like how useful it was in terms of killing potential, especially with how fast it's going to activate now, hopefully. I know it's not going to be like one of my really in-depth videos with a bunch of graphs and stuff, but getting a preliminary feel of it is going to be kind of most important for today. I kind of want to see if it's worth making a video about or not. And for this, we are using the Sarkov. I forget the numbers behind it, but it's the Sarkov marksman rifle. Not a bad marksman rifle, pretty slow firing rate and not great recoil. It's got a little bit of a bounce to it, oh boy, but it does some really good damage. But I think we've got enough to Pack-a-Punch this. I'm gonna go ahead and talk to I almost said Dr. Peck, that's Dr. Croft. Professor Craft? Professor Craft, oh my goodness, what even is this game? All right, we'll go in here. And I'm going to look for this antiquity. And because I took off the Elemental Pop augment that allows me to deal increased elemental damage to all of the special enemies and everything, I am going to go ahead and do the lightning incantation. Even though I know amalgams are weak to Shadow Rift, I'm curious to see how much of a damage difference it really is without that augment. But unfortunately, there are still a couple things. Well, it's just, I think the vermin bug that they said, the double attack bug they said was patched, was actually not patched. And I know that was really frustrating. That was like one of the most frustrating things for people, but I had suspected something else was going on. One of two possibilities was happening. Either they just decided not to test it at all, or the way they were testing it wasn't accurate. And it turns out in the blog post, they say sometimes bugs appear fixed in testing, but turn out to still be an issue in the live game after the patch goes out. This sucks for everyone involved. Oh boy, tell me about it. They said the vermin double attacking bug was one of those. And like the Terminus speedrun fix, the proper solution for it unfortunately cannot be implemented as quickly as some of the others listed above. So to me, this says, hey, there's actually more stuff going on in the back end than just a simple fix. So there's got to be an underlying issue with either how they're testing something or they just found a different bug that they need to fix first, which is far more logical than them just not testing it out in the first place anyway. So I think that makes me very relieved that, you know, the game developers who get paid to do it are still really good at it. I love the transparency here. I think this is fantastic. And I will say, I really wish that every single patch notes came with this sort of commentary or little developer notes in it. It really does a great job of showcasing the behind the scenes goings on of all of these decisions. I think it's fantastic. That being said, it's nice when these developer notes are for something that we like, but for example, if the developer notes were to have happened in the previous patch when they nerfed everything, would that make the community happy, or would that just still make them as upset as they were? Like, even if they said out loud, hey, we never intended for Shadow Rift to one-shot elites, would that have made it any better? Would that have made people any happier? I don't think so. So I understand, ooh, there's our first stamp here. I understand why they don't do it all the time, because if you're upset about something, it really doesn't matter what explanation you're given, you're just upset about it, I think. But that being said, I love the transparency. I love it anyway. And you know what? I think it's time. Let's go ahead and throw on our Shadow Rift here, and we'll see how frequently this thing pops here, this Shadow Rift. Okay, so there's one activation. Now, I remember it being incredibly slow before, and we did just finish the round here, so it was a really quick round. So I don't, I think that's fair to say that that's probably not, if it were that fast to activate twice in that round that took like 20 seconds, I think that might be a little bit too fast, but we'll really get a better sense of it once we get into a higher round. There's our stag sword, lightning rod, beautiful. Oh, there's another activation with the bug round, obviously, very good. All right, that automatically feels a little bit better. Although, of course, placebo effect could be a big deal right now. Let's get this little thing going for our lightning sword. And before we get into the meat here of the video with the Shadow Rift stuff, I do want to mention the Squid Games event, because they actually are updating that. They are increasing the round cap from 10 to 20. So we are going to be able to play that game until a forced exfil at round 20, and then they are going to be giving it to us on Liberty Falls, and after that update, they're going to see if we want to update it again and increase the round cap further. Now, I know I personally really didn't enjoy the game mode, but a lot of you beautiful people really did. A lot of you beautiful people, and a lot of people on my Discord also thought it was a really fun mode that they wish kept going for longer. And so this is just also great feedback. This is exactly what people wanted. So very, very good change there. It's still not endless. It's still not like Easter eggs and side quests, which I think a lot of people would really like to see. I mean, that would be an awesome video to do the whole Easter egg with red light, green light. I don't know. Oh, there's another activation. I don't know how possible that's going to be, because like I said, forcing players to not move and then not giving them any points during that duration, I feel like is just too unbalanced in the other direction. But I know some people are absolutely crazy and would absolutely do that. Plus with gobblegums and different strategies, it might very well be possible. And I just gotta say, like, final thoughts here on this while we update or upgrade our Raven Sword. This is like the perfect reaction to all of the negativity that was happening before. I honestly never would have expected them to make these changes. I kind of suspected they might buff Shadow Rift because like not many people used it, and they kind of did the same thing, because remember, they did the same thing with the Dark Flare field upgrade. Dark Flare was not used at all. It was really weak, and then they buffed it, and now it's like one of my favorite ones. So I have really high hopes for Shadow Rift here. But now it's time to test out this Shadow Rift and test out this Raven Sword. Just as a reminder, I'm using the big game augment for Shadow Rift, as well as the one that decreases the cooldown, and it is round 16, so we're gonna get our amalgam here. So this should technically work on the amalgam outside of just doing great damage to them. Of course, we get grabbed. That's okay. We might be doing too much damage that it doesn't even activate. It did recently activate on the previous round. Oh, there you go. It activated. I don't know if it activated on him. I probably missed it. That's fine though. That happens. We killed him fast anyway. Ooh, chopper gunner. Thank you. But in terms of training spots, ooh, there's another activation. Wow, that is like miles faster than what it used to do. Wow. Okay, well, we just got a Shadow Rift challenge. I think that shows you how much I don't use Shadow Rift here. But 2 activations within round 16, that is miles better than what we were doing before. I also decided to turn back on my score feed here so you can see all the different kills, just to see if we can't pick out how many kills we're actually getting with Shadow Rift. Doppelgast. All right. Did you do a lot of damage? Was that me or Shadow Rift? Because I do like the different ammo mods having different kind of purposes or effects. Cryo Freeze is better for like crowd control and each individual zombie. Napalm Burst is what you choose if you want just straight up damage. Turned is more of a tactical one. So there's a couple Shadow Rift. There's 3 Shadow Rift kills. And then Light Mend is obviously if you want some extra health back. So they've each got different purposes, right? Like the purpose of each ammo mod is not just to simply kill zombies. It's to enhance and make you stronger in different ways. And I just wonder what the role of Shadow Rift is, or what role that the developers want it to be. All right, so we activated Shadow Rift. That is a couple zombie kills. I don't know how many it activated on. This is going to be a tough one to test. It's going to be really hard to tell how many did it activate on, how many did you shoot, how many did it teleport up, did it kill them? And there's another activation. That's crazy. Again, don't know how many it actually activated on, but it's killing at least a zombie every time it activates. So can 1000% confirm it's activating way faster. Yeah, it's still not like killing an entire horde of zombies or like a bunch of zombies every activation, but I might be using it wrong. It might be more of a train up zombies and get them in a horde and then shoot into the horde type of thing. So let's try to do that here. Let's get a nice group of zombies going. Get up there. Beautiful. Let's see. Can we pop it in here? Maybe just like OG Napalm Burst. Maybe. Pretty please. Oh, there you go. Okay, so that was inside of a horde there and we got 3 kills. All right, we got 3 kills after shooting it into an entire horde, which, believe it or not, that's basically what Napalm Burst does. And I did keep the augments fairly vanilla. Like I said, I kept it to big game as well as the reduction of cooldown. So there are other augments that will teleport more zombies and that will teleport zombies on top of other zombies and deal explosive damage. So I might just have to bump up this augment review and maybe just do a straight little comparison between other ammo mods too, like in terms of just straight up killing potential. Cause like Cryo Freeze doesn't kill anything, but people still, oh, there's an amalgam. Oh, but people still like Cryo Freeze because of the tactical nature that it provides. Okay, so that dropped the amalgam and it did about, maybe not quite 50%, but like 45% of its damage. And I can tell you that, oh, maybe I shot it a couple times, but it still did some good damage. But more importantly, what it did, I don't know if you noticed it, but when it teleported the amalgam, it stunned it for quite a long time. So it's almost like a mix of an aggressive / a tactical way, right? Teleporting zombies out of your way gets them out of your way and then killing them on top of that. So it's almost like a mix between like Napalm Burst and a Cryo Freeze. I don't know if that's the slot that they want it to fill, but that's almost what it feels like, where it's like, ooh, teleport zombies out of your way, teleports them and kills them. Very interesting. I love how it looks. I was really excited when Black Ops 6 when the trailer dropped and it was like, ooh, a new ammo mod that does this elemental damage or this dark damage. Like, looks really flashy and I love how often it activates now. That's like 3 times this round. That is so much better. And I don't even have elemental pop yet. I am going to get tier 3 armor though, because I don't want to go down like a scrub. And we are going to test out something with the Raven Sword later. I do want to check the visual effects in this game. They usually broke at around round 30, so we're going to kind of get through the rounds as quick as we can until then. But this is really giving me the itch to try different augments of the Shadow Rift and see if they're any good. Because if we could increase the killing potential while still getting a good cooldown, especially with like elemental pop, oh my goodness, that would be game changing for this. But right now, I feel like this is what I would say about where Shadow Rift should have been at launch with how well it activates. It might even, like mathematically speaking here, it might even be stronger than Napalm Burst, because I feel like Napalm Burst doesn't activate this much, but I haven't really played around with the ammo mods all that much yet, which is crazy to think after like 2 months of this game being out, I still haven't played around with all the ammo mod augments. But hey, that's just how much stuff is in this game. But now I think it's time to go ahead and get ourselves some elemental pop. And on these augments, I have the citrus focus, which just makes it so that if elemental pop is going to activate an ammo mod, it's just the one that I have equipped, so that way we're not getting like turned or napalm burst in this at all. And I do have the one that decreases the cooldown time, so it should be activating even faster now. There's an amalgam. Let's see if we can't get it to activate on him. Let's see, can we teleport you? I'm gonna try not to hit a weak point here. Let's see if we can't get it to teleport. Activate, please. Let's go ahead, shoot your legs while we're still doing so much damage to him. So he's about a quarter of the way dead. Oh, it's so hard with all these zombies. It's so hard to isolate all these things. This is what's gonna be really tough about it. Okay, so let's go ahead. See if we can't get you, please. Can you teleport? Sweet, where'd you go? Where's he at? Oh, he's over here. There you are. Look, he's, oh my goodness. Okay, wow, okay. That did a lot of damage. Now, I'm sure I got him in a weak point or something. I'm sure my gun still did damage to him. But as you saw, from the time that we teleported him to the time he was stunned, it was like he's stunned for quite a long time. So that just kind of reaffirms my hypothesis that they want Shadow Rift to be this hybrid of offensive and defensive capability. They want it to teleport zombies away from you while also dealing damage. And when you say it out loud, when you think about it like that, it kind of makes sense why the cooldown was so low, because you have Cryo Freeze, which is definitely just defensive. You have Napalm Burst, which is just offensive, and having both offensive and defensive is like even more powerful. So of course they want it a little bit more balanced, but turns out nobody really liked it. So they buffed it like this. And I think this is actually a really good balance in between the two. In fact, what might be good for us to do actually is I'm gonna go pick up Napalm Burst, because Napalm Burst in my eyes is like the ammo mod you use for killing. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick, well, can I please pick up? Can I get the Napalm Burst? Thank you so much. Then I'll get a nice little train going over here. Let's get this nice going. Let's shoot the middle of this guy. We've got Napalm Burst kill, Napalm Burst kill, Napalm Burst kill. That's 3 of them. So like I said, Napalm Burst only kills 3 people by default. I need to play around with those augments too, like I said, to see what killing potential you can really get out of it. I forget even what augments I have. Oh, there's 1 Napalm Burst kill just like that. Oh, there's another Napalm Burst. Let's go. That's 2, 3. Again, we're just getting 3. In terms of how frequently it's actually activating quite a bit faster than I think Shadow Rift is. But I'll say not by much. Not by much. It's still taking a decent amount of time. Yeah, it definitely feels like Napalm Burst is activating way more frequently than Shadow Rift is. I'm gonna say Napalm Burst activates every like 10 to 15 seconds. Like it's pretty fast. But now let's switch back to Shadow Rift and kind of do our own calculations here. There's 1 activation. Obviously it was just on the special enemy, but that was at like 22 seconds, maybe call it 23, 22 seconds. This is very dangerous here. Okay, there's another activation. Okay, so wow, okay, never mind. That was about 12 seconds later, and we've got more Shadow Rift challenges going. All right, so if it activates again within this next little burst here, I think it will be comparable to Napalm. Oh, yep, there it is. There it is. All right, it might be a, well, actually no, that's actually Elemental Pop, so I don't know if that counts as the same activation or not, but Napalm Burst did feel faster, but going back to this, I think it's very comparable, if not maybe like a 5-second difference between Napalm Burst and Shadow Rift here. I don't even know. That's pretty darn close to me. If there is a difference, like I said, it's probably only like a 5-second difference or something. If it's 15 seconds for Napalm Burst, it might be 20 seconds for Shadow Rift, but if it's like 10 seconds for Napalm Burst, it might be like 15 seconds for Shadow Rift, which honestly, with all the different augments we could possibly do, might not be the worst thing ever. This is looking to be pretty darn good. However, I got a little comment saying that with this update, with the buff to Shadow Rift, they actually made this sword even better than what it was before. If you didn't know, if you have the sword ability here fully charged, when you hit an enemy, it will actually provide you with the Shadow Rift ability. So if we kind of swipe at zombies here, boom, there's the Shadow Shadow Rift ability just like that. So I've been told that that is actually buffed as well, which could be really fun to do here. So let's go ahead and take care of this amalgam first. Beautiful. And boom, there's that amalgam dead. That amalgam dead. Wow. Let's go ahead and test this out here. We can just go backwards. There's one activation. Let's keep it going. Sword swiping just like so. That's not bad. Then there's another activation that didn't seem too crazy to me. It definitely feels better than it was before, but it almost feels like how it was when it first started. Okay, that's another ability just like that. Wow. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of like pre-patch information about these swords because I was doing so many other things. There's so much fun stuff to test about this game, but I'm excited to see how it's going to work now. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so we still have the visual effects here. We're getting upwards of round 30, which is the next thing that I want to test here. If I just spam all of these animations, will it break the game like it did before? New horde here. Let's see. Okay, there's one Shadow Rift right there. That's good. And obviously elemental pop, because the sword clearly doesn't have an ammo mod equipped to it. It is going to give me other ammo mod activations, but the sword itself should be also just doing Shadow Rift. Yeah, dang. Okay, so what time is that? That is going to be 48 minutes and 51 seconds. Let's just kind of keep it going in a nice straight line here. Let's see when the next activation is. Oh, wow. That was like 8 seconds in between those activations. That's really good. I don't know if it's sit in a corner good, but it's have a lot of fun good. Oh, and I hear an amalgam, so let's go ahead. Oh, we've got an insta-kill on. Does it teleport the amalgams though? It teleported the amalgam. It teleported the amalgam and it killed it. It killed it. It probably killed it because of the insta-kill, but it still did it. Wow. I wonder if this, oh, there's an interesting video. I wonder if the ammo mods you put on affect the passive upgrades of the swords. So like, did this Shadow Rift thing from this Raven sword teleport the amalgam because I have the big game augment on, or does that just naturally do that? And can you then get crazy abilities on your swords if you have the right augments? Oh, this is cool. Oh, and there's our opal camo. There's our opal camo. Very good. I just need to get these marksman rifles opal sooner rather than later, because man, oh man, these marksman rifles are not it. Ooh, a Casimir. Okay, now what I want to do, speaking of Casimir, I really want to kind of see how this thing is gonna do, because it takes us less time to charge up our sword now, or at least the Raven sword does. I want to see just how, I think it's ready to go again. Is it ready to go again? It's ready to go again. Let's go. All right. Now, unfortunately, before it's charged up, you actually don't get those ammo mod effects, so you'll just have to use the base sword, but I've always really wanted to test out how effective just the swords alone can be. Oh, there's a max ammo. That's another full charge, and it's going to be good to test out the visual effects thing here, because it always broke when I was using this sword, so we'll use this for a good couple rounds here, maybe till round 40 or something, and just test out and see. And to be honest, I've never really used the Raven sword like this before. It was clearly the most powerful, so I, like what I always do, completely ignored it because I didn't want to use the most powerful thing. Ooh, double amalgam. Okay, let's block you, stun you. Oh man, why have I never done this before? This is like incredible. Who needs the light sword when you've got Tesla Storm protecting you at all times? All right, we're on round 38 here. I do want to take a round to kind of test out how Shadow Rift is in a higher-ish round. I know most people don't like getting to round 38, but we're here, so I'm going to go ahead, activate it once here. We're at, ooh, almost 58 minutes exactly. That got 6 kills. Whoa, that Shadow Rift got 6 kills just then. That's crazy. I wonder if the more zombies that are around the actual activation of it deals more damage or something, because that was a lot more than what we have found before. There's another activation. Let's see, that only killed 3 people. Yeah, back down to 3. I wonder what that was. Again, just 3 zombies with that activation. Very, very strange. I wonder if that 6 was just a fluke or something, or maybe my elemental popped at the same time as my normal Shadow Rift did. Oh, that was a good big group that it activated in front of. Maybe that was it. Nope, still just 3 kills. Interesting. All right, unfortunate. Oh, there's an immediate activation just like that. There's 1, 2, there's 3. Yeah, it seems like 3 is kind of the peak here. Like I said, with augments that might change. And here we are, round 40. Now, I don't want to say for certainty because obviously this is just one game of me testing, but every other game of Citadel de Mor has had broken visual effects in the late 20s, early 30s, mainly after 30s. So the fact that we've gotten all the way to 40 here while spamming this Raven Sword, I think is a pretty good indication that, yeah, they probably fixed, at least partially, that visual effects bug here. Please let me know if it's fixed for you, because that was probably one of the biggest things about this map. So that means like people were having trouble in the directed mode because the green orbs of the Easter egg weren't appearing. People were having trouble with the boss because they couldn't see the lava. And now all of that should be hopefully fixed. Now, unfortunately, you know, the update didn't make Shadow Rift like the next best ammo mod, but I think it did a wonderful job at putting it about where it should be, activating about as frequently as something like Napalm Burst. But because it does have the both offensive and defensive capability, it is probably going to be a little bit longer. And with augments, I'm really excited to test this thing out with augments, because I feel like with augments it could be even better. So let's try to do this whole thing. Do we have the sword charged up yet? Maybe soon. Bing. Oh, the amalgam's almost dead anyway. Okay, there you go. Yep, our visual effects are still here. We got that all destroyed. Wonderful. That's so good. Between the sword being able to hit two things at once now, the buffs to them, the buff to Shadow Rift, the directed mode reversion, this is looking fantastic. I am really happy. I was already happy with Black Ops 6 before this update, but man, this is just icing on the cake. Absolutely fantastic. If you haven't played the new update, give it a shot for yourself. Let me know what you think of Shadow Rift now. Did they do enough? Should they do more? What should they do? Have you tested it out with everything? And did you know that the directed mode nerf that they did, that they just reversed and isn't a thing anymore, it really wasn't that bad in the first place? If you want to see some very interesting stats, be sure to check out this video and stay beautiful.